So this one came out without much notice at all. Who would have thought Good Morning America showing Star Wars Rogue One for the first time? Now, Rogue One is a movie none of us really asked for, but none of us are really against. And finally, we get to see a trailer for this movie that's coming out next year. And not much has been heard about the film in general. We've had, some talk about the casting, a little bit about the story, but we kind of already know the general sense of what's going to happen because it is taking place before 4, and we kind of know what the result of the movie's going to be. This trailer kind of felt like a teaser trailer in some sense. Maybe not a teaser trailer in traditional sense because it did give us some story and a little bit of background, but it didn't show too much. It was mostly just an introduction, maybe to some of the visuals, some of the designs, and maybe this new lead and a little, snippets of some of the characters that we're going to see. But overall, the trailer was a solid trailer. Nothing surprising, in my opinion, nothing shocking, but it's still enough to get me excited for the movie. Was I gonna see it anyways? Yeah, of course. I was still gonna see it at midnight and everything. And did this trailer really like change much of my perception of the movie? Not really. I think a lot of it, what we saw wasn't unexpected. We saw some cool designs, we saw some cool action, but overall, I think not the most surprising trailer. In terms of just the tone, so this one seems a lot darker and grittier than we're used to with Star Wars, and I think that's a good thing, especially for a side story. Now, the only reason I'm not 100% sure if this is actually going to be, that kind of dark and gloom like the trailer is showing is because Force Awakens kind of had that, and then when you actually see the movie, it's a lot more lighthearted and funny than you would have thought. Probably one of the, funniest movies in the Star Wars franchise. But what I do like is that this movie looks like it's going to be action packed. In Force Awakens, I don't think we saw that much action. Yeah, there's action and stuff like that, but not like a ton of it, and a lot of it was just kind of like CG stuff. This seems like it's gonna have a lot of just like character to character action. When we have somebody like Donnie Yen in the movie with a staff looking like he's gonna fight with that, yeah, that makes me pretty excited because at the heart of this movie, it's gonna probably be a heist kind of infiltration movie, and it's gonna be a lot more like these characters are running around trying to fight, trying to sneak around, and that gets me really excited. Excited. Is it going to be violent? Is it going to be gritty? Hopefully a little bit. I mean, it's not going to get an R rating or anything, but a pretty hard PG-13 maybe. But has a lot of potential in terms of the cast. A lot of them are newcomers, and I've looked into a lot of the biographies and stuff. Yeah, they've done other things, but a lot of them have been smaller or just not really mainstream within like Hollywood. And what I do love is that it's such a diverse cast. Like Star Wars has been great nowadays in just getting a diverse cast. Like we have another female lead, and then we have Hispanic actors, we have black actors, we have Asian actors, we have we have white actors too. Like we have like all races, and I think the part that makes this great is because you have to think about it. Like Star Wars isn't a like one world with a continent filled with people of different races. No, it's just a galaxy where humans are a race. There's no like race, like by country. It's just like this is hey, humanity is spread between these countries along with aliens, and well, I guess they're not aliens in that sense, but aliens to us. And I like that they're just saying like, hey, it doesn't matter. We're gonna have an ensemble of a bunch of people from all a bunch of different areas, and that really gets me excited. And I'm glad they're kind of doing unknown actors. Daisy Ridley did amazing. John Boyega did amazing. Adam Driver did amazing. They all did great performances, and I think that bringing in new actors and new talent, it really has a lot to say. The only one I really recognize is Donnie Yen, of course, because of Ip Man, and I'm really excited because I know he's going to bring some really cool action to the place. Um, one thing is the new Mon Mothma. She looks similar enough, and I'm not going to comment, but I did notice it was a different actress, so it kind of hits a little bit. And you're like, oh, I guess can't bring the same actress. One thing I just didn't really like about the cast, the only thing is I don't think they have any aliens really in the movie, which really bothers me because for a universe, a galaxy where we see all these different races, the different species, I might say, I feel like there's not many big like alien act like characters. Seems like they're all humans, which okay, yeah, I know rebels are a lot most humans stuff like that, but it would be nice to see some alien actors or some aliens in the movies and not CG creatures, more of just like hey, we have aliens with these like really cool costumes and setups there. But I did see a droid or two, so that still gets me excited. Another thing, where are the Bothan spies? That's
Many Bothans
they died
died.
for this, and and are they not going to get any recognition? That just breaks my heart, breaks it. Now with the story, we already kind of know what we're going to get in terms of like how it's going to start and kind of how it's going to end. We know that it's Rogue One. We know that they're going to steal the plans of the Death Star and they're going to bring it back. So the thing with this is though they have a lot of potential to just mess around with anything they can do in the middle. The randomness, the how they meet these characters, how they come about, and how they pull this off. This could be epic. It could be crazy. We know it was an underdog fight, and we know the rebels at this time are still early. That they're not that powerful, and to fight the Empire was probably a huge, humongous deal. With the main character, she does seem a little tropey because she was like, hey, you're a criminal, and now we want you to help us do this because you're like one of the master criminals, and then you could, you can steal death plans because you're so talented, and then obviously she's gonna become a good character. With that, it's a little like, okay. I mean, whatever. I don't think that setup will be too much, but it was a big chunk of the trailer. So hopefully they just kind of like skip over some of the origins of these characters more, just kind of get into like the point of it, and just kind of show off their personalities. Especially with the story, more things with story is just has potential to throw in all these new characters. It's a side story, and they can just throw in all these new characters and just have them there. They can have a few introductions for some other characters. It could be really cool to see the early creations that we saw in the trailer, the early creations of the Death Star, kind of how it came about, maybe all the resources and how big of a deal it was for the Empire to create something so big. Um, and also we can see the early AT-AT's designs, which we saw in the trailer, which look amazing, and they look pretty screwed in that scene. What are you going to do to AT-AT when you're just running on foot? And we can see some, maybe early Stormtrooper designs, because we see some of the traditional white Stormtroopers, but we also see some in black armor. And it doesn't look like the shock troopers that we're used to. It's just like a new kind of helmet design, so that could be an early version of some of these. So it has a lot of potential to show some early versions of that and of the rebels and everything from the story. In terms of music, the music, it wasn't that much, but it seemed, like what Star Wars is, but the sound was cool because the whole trailer, like starting midway, there was just this alarm sounding. And that really kind of got the tension flowing. It really got the like the no hope feeling, like the like, oh no, this seems like it's dire, like alarms going off, stormtroopers coming. Sounds rough. And in terms of visuals, the costume design's amazing. Like these characters look gritty. They look like they're in this world, but don't look like it. Like, hey, yeah, it's a cartoon, right? And it looks pretty cool. And the actual CG looks really good. Um, and I think they, with all the cool, weapons and all the cool ships and what and things they use, like it has a lot of potential to be like just really fun, action-packed movie. Now, just a few of my personal biases, and this is kind of outside of the trailer. A few of my hopes are that this is not forcibly connected to the other movies. And what I mean by that is like, yeah, I know it's gonna be like, hey, we got this, and this is why the ending, the Yavin 4 battle in episode 4 was even possible. But I wanted it to be forced where you're like, hey, we met up with some guy who's a smuggler and with a Wookiee, like here's Han Solo. Like I don't want forced connections. Like I wouldn't mind if we saw maybe a little bit of Vader, because that makes sense, because they're going on the Death Star and stuff. Like maybe an earlier Vader, but I really don't want to see them like force in characters that we already know, or to kind of like throw in ties, be like, hey, this character is related to this character, which is why he's doing this. Like I don't really want that. Um, but yeah, and another hope I have is like, now this is not going to be a popular one, but I hope there's no Jedi. And why I say that is I feel like for a franchise that, even though Jedi's are probably like, one of the most popular parts and like really familiar part, it's just that every movie is centered around a Jedi. And for a galaxy where there's like literally one or two Jedi, and that's all the story really focuses on, and they're the main point, it just seems like, wow, okay, we're seeing literally like 0.0001% of like the whole galaxy, and I would really like to see some new characters, some grittiness from people from all over, from different ends, and really focus on that. It's a side story, and there's no need for Jedi. Could maybe a Jedi will help them out, that's okay. I just hope he doesn't become like, hey, we couldn't have done this without the Jedi. I want to see people with actual skill. That's why I like Donnie Yen when you see him using his staff and stuff. Like, see, like he's just a skilled warrior. You see people skilled with weapons, guns, a bunch of different creativity. Like, I don't want to just see another like lightsaber fight. Like, as that's why we have the main series movies. I just think this movie has a lot of potential if it moves forward with no Jedi. Not much force sensitivity, all that stuff. Just straight people, aliens, humans, whatever, from all parts of the galaxies coming together to fight this huge army empire. This could be more of like, war heist kind of movie. It doesn't have to be like, hey, it has this spiritual force that's like guiding it. Because at this point, they probably think all Jedi are dead anyways, I believe. So aside from, I guess if you consider the Sith Jedi. And then, just overall, like, this is a big deal in terms of Star Wars franchise. It's the first, aside from the Christmas special, it's the first non-numbered entry that we're gonna get like on the big screen, and like live action, and it's just it can really set the further movies that will take this role. We know we're gonna get the spin-off for the Han Solo origins, and maybe some other origins, the Boba Fett origins. Um, and this is by the director who did the Godzilla remake. So if we see that these side movies actually could hold their own and be additions to the franchise, then yeah, I'm so for them. But this is a big deal that like just how Force Awakens was like, hey, can we make another trilogy? Because this be good. This is like, hey, can we make side stories that are actually good and not feel just like they're there because it's a cash grab. Is this movie like a cash grab? Yeah, I mean, I know Disney's wanting to make more money and stuff like that. But they could show that, it does hold its own and there's purpose. Because at least this is a somewhat story that sounds interesting enough. It has a cool cast character and it seems like they're putting a lot of potential, not like they're rushing it out there. Um, but aside from that, yeah, like it just it's gonna be different from the hopefully different from the other stories. And it's just I I didn't have many expectations. Like I kind of knew what I was gonna get, and what the trailer did was just kind of like confirm kind of like what I thought I was gonna see. Was I gonna see it anyways? Yeah. Am I a little bit more excited? Yeah, probably. And I think it's good for a bunch of the casual audience who doesn't know this movie even exists or is coming out. That it is coming out and it could be cool, and I really hope that a lot of people go see it. And yeah, that's my overall thoughts of the trailer. If you liked what I had to say, leave a like, comment, and consider subscribing if you want to see more Star Wars videos, movie reviews, and just general nerd stuff. So thanks for watching, and see you later.